My name is Stephen Riemer, and I'm the executive chef at the Catamaran Resort and Spa, and we are sitting outside of the Catamaran as we speak. I started with the Lodge at Torrey Pines, one of our sister properties, back in 2001, and I've recently taken over this position and started to effect some changes. We're trying to be as regional as we can. Well, many of our products are being grown in this very region, and what I'm trying to do is evoke a sense of place here. And so San Diego is what I would call my food. Well, I worked originally in a place making pizzas and sandwiches, in a place that was very busy in Washington State. I wasn't very good at it to begin with. I found myself tired and trying to figure out what my particular job was. But I grew to like it a lot, and especially in the cooking capacity, when you're making the pastas or cooking the actual pizzas, there's something very visceral about it, you know, something that I think is innate to humans. They like to be around fire and watch how it changes things. I was working in a restaurant in Washington State that specialized in seafood at the time, and I was talking with some of the other chefs around, and we happened to have an organization there, a local chefs chapter, and they started talking about what their careers were like, and I said, you know, I may not ever be the best chef, but I can do this. And I think it was at that point that I started to think of it as more than just a job, but a career. Originally, when you first start cooking, it's all about the recipe or the technique, and that's as it should be. You should be learning those techniques, and so you're inspired mostly by the chef that you work for. Later, you're sometimes inspired by the things that other chefs are doing. And then still later, you become inspired by the things that those chefs were inspired by, which usually has to do with the place that you're at. So here, I think of like avocados, I think of citrus, things that are indigenous to this area. So when a dish comes together that feels right, inevitably it feels of the place as well. So I find my inspiration in the ingredients that come. And when you start thinking about regional and seasonal, I think tomatoes have to be the number one. We're still in a tomato season here because it's so temperate, where most of the rest of the country is now too cold. Their season is done. Tomatoes are good here, and I get some really great heirloom varieties for me to work with, and because they're still available here, they can still be on my menu. We get strange transition periods in California because the weather is so different, so I can have winter things coming on at the same time that many of the traditionally summer items are still available and in good quantity and good quality. I'm Chef Stephen Riemer, and today we're going to prepare wild arugula salad with heirloom tomatoes and balsamic vinegar. This salad was conceived to show off the best of San Diego. We start with wild arugula and heirloom tomatoes that are from this region. I'll slice these tomatoes in a variety of shapes to better show off the tomatoes themselves, and then place them in a sort of random fashion. The salad is dressed with extra virgin olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and a little salt, placed in a sort of a natural fashion on the plate, and garnished with red wine, pickled onions, and shaved Parmesan Reggiano cheese. The best kind of cooking I do is when I'm left with what am I going to do, and I look around with what I have, and it comes from somewhere. It's usually not planned. I just put it together. I think what makes this resort stand out is that the food goes across the board. It's not necessarily you come into the restaurant and get one style or one level of attention. If you go into one of our banquet functions, any one of our caterings, our weddings, all of those get the same sort of attention, the same theme runs through it, or what I like to call the love in the kitchen. So.